Hi, handsome boy. Hi. So fun story. I get to the boat this morning and I'm all ready to work, and I realize that I don't have any of my tools because Logan has all the tools. Because he is working for money, you know, instead of the boat work, just, I don't know, 10 minutes down the road, but we share a bunch of tools between the boat and that job. And he's working today and I'm supposed to be working at the boat today, but he has all the pneumatic tools that I need to get the paint off the boat. So I'm going for a drive. I'm Taryn, this is Logan, and this is Max. Our life rarely goes as planned, and this story is no different. But we are determined to rebuild our beautiful steel boat, even stronger than she was before. And we're bringing you along with us. Alright, we've got the tool. We still have one tool missing, not sure who has it, but anyway, this is the one I need. This beauty. I can actually work now. Good news. All ready to go. I found some extra rust because we had a few portholes leaking. Well, we didn't. There was a few portholes leaking before we bought the boat, and from what we can tell, the leaks have been fixed, but they definitely did some damage before they were caught. And because of that, there are a few kind of small rust issues. One might be a larger issue, but we can't see it. And in order to really get at it, we'd have to tear out a bunch more of the boat, and we're just not into it. So it's not bad enough to be a structural issue at this point. So we're just going to paint it and keep an eye on it. It's not in a place where we can't access it, and like we won't be able to see if it gets worse. So we're not super worried about it. It's just kind of a pain in the butt. And the one spot is inside the cabinet and up. And to get in there and actually do something about it is not easy. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. You go in here, and then you gotta get up and into there. See all that rust? And it's a very small space. It's really hard to tell in the camera because it's just so hard to get in there and show you. Like I don't think there's even enough space for me to actually bring the camera in there with me, and there's definitely not in the cabinet here. So yeah, it's gonna do what it can do with that and then move on, I guess. Fun times. Okay, let's see if I can get it here. Okay, so film the mirror. You see how much rust is up there? Yeah. So getting in there and getting that rust is very hard, hence why I'm using a mirror to show you. That cabinet's the same. So all four of these cabinets have that issue along them, so that's super annoying. It's also, I think, partly because they just weren't insulated properly, so should be able to solve that problem pretty quick. Alright, so I'm taking all this foam off. Well, I want to take all the foam off. There we go. You can see the rust. I have to take all this foam off so we can repaint it. You can see chunks falling. But because of where it's at and how difficult it is to get in here, I'm actually viewing what it is that I'm chopping off and out through the camera right now. So I can't see it other than looking through the viewfinder. I was using a mirror, but this actually works better, I think, so far. Except for the fact that it's just really hard to see and feel and do this. It's super annoying. We'd known that there was this much rust right here, we probably would have taken the front of the cabinet off, but now it's just like so much extra work, and it can be done this way. It's just a lot more frustrating. So here I am chopping foam out of the top of our kitchen cabinets, galley cabinets. It's nothing that's really bad. It's nothing that we can't mostly remedy. We can't get to a point where it'll last quite a few more years. So we could decide that we're going to take this whole front off of this cabinet and in the other cabinet and then like really properly deal with this, but it's going to add months and months of more work onto everything. So we're just at the point where the stuff that really needs to be done, the big things like the deck and where the mast sits and all that stuff, checking the water tank, we're going to deal with that stuff. But anything that's like pretty minimal that we would like to do properly, air quotes, properly, we're just going to do what we can do without adding months and months more work onto here. So the other good thing right now is that all the rest I'm finding is just like very surface. It looks like it's just like a little bit of condensation kind of got stuck in there and worked its way into the paint a bit, but it's nothing that's gonna really be very damaging. That's all pretty good. That's exciting. It's not like we have to replace any extra metal. It's just getting all the gross paint off enough that we can paint with new stuff and have it cleaned up well enough that the paint will adhere to it. The purpose of using the die grinder was two-part. First, to get the rust and loose paint off that was left after replacing deck, and also to create a texture on the steel that the paint would adhere to. I'm stuck! This is the squishy space. I'm looking at it and I can't really tell whether or not I've actually got all of it because I can't see around the corners and every time I move my arm blocks the light, so it's less than comfortable and less than, I don't know, what's the word, productive? Not comfortable. This is what those ceramic tiles did. See how flat that weld is and how you can't really see any burnt paint along the edge? So I'm having to chip that paint off now a little bit, but not very far. And yeah, you can see how flat the weld is because it ran into the ceramic tile and then got pushed back up. So that means that we got good penetration and we didn't have any blow through. And we've got a nice rounded weld there that we don't have to do very much work to now. So, penetration isn't perfect, but it's solid enough, and yeah, those welds are in good shape for what we wanted them. So, there you go. That's what the tiles do. enough face? Okay. I am covered in black dust. Gross. So that's pretty much it for the dye grinding. I thought I could get away with not hitting anything else with the Turku, but I'm gonna have to go over some spots with the Turku again, and then I should be able to finally hit it with acetone and be ready for paint. So not too bad. It should be about another, I don't know. Ooh. I have like probably another hour of hitting shit with the Turku, maybe 2, and then the interior should be ready to start getting prepped for paint with acetone, and then kind of vacuuming the crap out of spaces and closing them off so that we don't have to worry about dust. I have to go into the chain or the aft lockers. I have to go into the aft lockers and do the same thing with them, but as far as in the boat goes, we're pretty good right now, so that's exciting. Yeah, and hopefully we should have some heat next week to do all this with, so that'll also make things easier. Last day I was here working on the boat, I was using a pneumatic tool to get in and just clean up the rust and clean off all the paint that had burnt off or had bubbled off. And today I'm going to use this crazy beast. This right here is a Turku. So we got this tip actually from Sailing Melody because they were using it. It's got all these crazy little teeth on it. You see them? Some of these are kind of broken off because I've been using it and Logan's been using it. But what those teeth do is they pull the paint off, and at the same time as pulling the paint off, they actually key the surface so that it's like it was sandblasted, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is a huge time saver and also keeps the job a lot cleaner in here. So that's what I'm going to do next. So the reason that I haven't used this thing the whole time is that it has limitations, like it can't get into corners, it can't get into tight spaces. It messes it up if you hit like big chunks of weld with it, or hit it onto big chunks of weld. So with where I've been working, it's been complicated and difficult to get it in there, so I haven't been using it so much. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to hit everything with the Turku. So I'm going to start kind of where I finished last week and then move my way back. Yeah, let's get at it. You can see how textured the steel is, which will give the paint something to grab onto. So that heater is working awesome. It's like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 degrees outside, and it is 16 degrees in here. Humidity is probably at 70% outside, and it's at 45 in here, so that's awesome. We need the paint, in order to paint, we need it at a minimum of 5 degrees, so that means we are definitely in that area, especially because when we hold the heat gun up to the boat, it's reading between 9 and 14 degrees, so that is right on schedule for the temperature that we need and the humidity that we need, which is awesome. So as long as we can get an extraction fan system worked out, we can actually paint tomorrow, which is really exciting. One of the many projects Logan was working on while I was prepping for paint was filtering old fuel to use in the oil furnace so we could save some money. It smells funny in here. It smells like gas.
Well, it's all kinds of different fuel. I don't know.
Perfect.
It's all the stuff that we found. Some of it might be gas. I don't know.
Oh, hi, Max. Hey, buddy. He's like, guys, it's that time that I want the food.
Hi, bud.
Right?
We have really dirty fuel in this pail.
Okay.
And all these pails are full of semi-clean fuel.
Hi, Max.
But I wanted to filter it again and make it actually clean. So I'm sucking from these dirty pails through this little pump here, which it was the old fuel pump for our diesel heater on Nordic.
Sweet.
It was the spare that was broken, and I got a new bellows for it and fixed it. So then it pumps up through this big filter and then out into that bucket. It looks pretty good. And I'm just running this off a power converter, going from 120 here into 12 volt. With alligator clips. It's definitely not sketchy.
It smells like Play-Doh and gas mixed together.
That's how you know that it's quality fuel.
Oh yeah, obviously, because that's definitely the smell of a regular fuel.
So, I've just about burnt through about a half a jerry can of
Good diesel.
like new diesel that I just filled up the other day. So we'll see whether this stuff is actually going to burn now that everything's been filtered and cleaned and blah blah blah.
Or if it plugs up that filter again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should work.
Well, it's running off of that can now.
And that's the stuff you just filtered?
Yep. So, yesterday Taryn got a piece of metal in her eye from prepping for paint, just with the die grinder. So she's at the clinic right now getting that dealt with, and I'm here at the boat. We've got the heat on this morning, warming up the boat. We have a little bit of paint prep left, and I'm just filtering more fuel and building an extraction fan. So this is I forgot to start filming right away today, so this is what I have. I have part of a box made, some more pieces to go on here. I just cut it in the table saw, and it has to fit this fan here. Where is it? Right there. We've got two of these 20-foot 4-inch heating ducts, like dryer vents, or I'm not even sure what you'd really call those. Hi, Max. What are you doing? Hi. And we're just gonna drag those around with us and put them wherever we need suction when we're painting to get rid of the fumes. And yeah, I'll just cut some holes in the box for the ducting, and I'll cut a hole in the box and seal off the blower side of the fan so that it will put the box under a vacuum and pull everything through the ducting. So I'll show you that in a bit here.
So while Logan was working on putting that fan together this morning, I was getting a piece of metal ground out of my eye. Yesterday when I was doing all that work on the hull, I got a little piece of metal lodged in my eyeball thanks to the pneumatic grinder. So I had to get that ground out of my eye this morning. But now I'm back at the boat. It is very foggy out today. Can you guys see that? Look how foggy it is. So it's not the warmest day today, but luckily that heater is running and it's doing its job, so I don't know if we'll actually get painting done today, but hopefully We just need to get that extraction fan figured out, and then we can move forward with some other stuff. We got to do some welding first. And then once that welding's done, we can start moving on to paint. So we'll see how it goes.
So I can't get the slot into the fan part of it through the hole there.
So what's your solution?
I have to make a spacer.
Alright, so the last step before we acetone and then paint is roughing up all of the stuff that we've ground, all the paint that we're going to paint over with a little bit of sanding. And I'm doing that with the orbital sander, palm sander. Oh, my eye still hurts. This is so frustrating. So the reason that I'm doing that is because the paint won't adhere to the paint that's there without being roughed up and sanded. So just quickly go over it, and then once that's done, then we shouldn't have any issues with the new paint adhering to the old paint. Ugh. That's the theory anyway. Logan's still working on the fan outside. We have a couple of things to do outside before we actually get to the painting inside, but we're getting close, so as long as this is done inside, then as soon as that stuff's done outside, we can jump in here and do it, so that's exciting. Super far in there, but it's in there. We tested the fan with the little bit of welding touch-ups that we had left to do before putting the paint on, and it worked great. No good lighting in here. Anyway, we almost made it to the point where we're ready to paint, but not quite. So we got everything cleaned up, everything's ground, everything's sanded. We just have to vacuum tomorrow and then acetone first thing in the morning while the boat's warming up, and then the first coat of paint should go on tomorrow. Second coat of paint should go on Monday, third on Tuesday, and then that should be it. That's the entire interior of the boat. Join us next week for the painting, which, I promise, will be more exciting than it sounds. Thanks so much for watching, and an extra shout out to our patrons for supporting us with making these videos. See you next week.